as far as unexpectedly great Star Wars novels go, I would put Star Wars Guardians of the Whills by Greg Rucka right up there with Star Wars Ahsoka in terms of surprise favorites. Although it's a simple novel, Guardians of the Whills added some amazing new information into the canon in regard to the Moon of Jedha, the beliefs of the ancient Force-worshipping organizations of both the Disciples and the Guardians of the Whills, and in regard to some of my favorite moments and characters from Rogue One. Therefore, here are my top 5 moments and reveals from the novel Guardians of the Whills. First on my list of top 5 moments and reveals from the novel is when we get to see the precise moment the Imperial Star Destroyer starts its mission parked right over top of the Holy City on Jedha. Rucka's description of the Star Destroyer descending down upon the city certainly adds a new terrifying weight to the iconic image seen heavily within Rogue One. However, even more important in my opinion than just the reveal of the first moment of the Star Destroyer's appearance over the Holy City is the reasoning behind its unique position, and why it was placed so terrifyingly close above the citizens of the city. As we saw in the novel, the presence of the Star Destroyer was a direct response to the actions of Saw's partisans, Baze and Chirrut, in their insurgency against the Empire. As played out on screen in Rogue One, the Empire's decision to place a Star Destroyer over the city started a new brutal era for the citizens of Jedha, as the Empire began to deploy more of its forces to crush the growing dissension. In another great reveal connected to the presence of the Star Destroyer over the Holy City, this moment symbolized a profound change in the characters of Baze and Chirrut. Through the appearance of the Star Destroyer, Baze and Chirrut recognized that the more they fought the Empire, the more damage it was doing to the citizens of Jedha. This directly resulted in the two Guardians deciding to move away from Saw and the partisans, and focus their efforts on helping those in need within the Holy City. At number 4 on my list is the information that was revealed surrounding the mysterious ancient monuments on Jedha. Having left the Holy City to meet secretly with Saw for the first time in private, we were given a description of a set of monuments, whose description harkened back to that which was seen in Rogue One, which appeared to be a Jedi. As described by Baze to Chirrut, we know that these monuments were known as the Three Faces. In addition to being extremely old, Baze was able to decipher that one of the faces was that of a human man, one appeared to be a woman, and one was a non-human species that was most likely a Duros. I enjoyed this reveal as it added more to the mysterious history that surrounds the ancient moon of Jedha, particularly as it relates to the Jedi and the ancient Force-worshipping organizations, many of whom were described in the novel, including the Guardians of the Whills, Disciples of the Whills, Brotherhood of the Beatific Countenance, Firmus, Weldsingers of Grace, and the Central Isopter. Although not directly addressed within the novel, I have my suspicions that these organizations have a rich history with the ancient Jedi Order, whereby the beliefs of these organizations help shape the ancient order. More clues in regards to these historical connections is always a lot of fun for me, and so this reveal was a great one. In the third spot on my list is the reveal of how Baze received his heavy repeating cannon, otherwise known as the MWC 35C Staccato Lightning Repeating Cannon. Featured heavily in Rogue One, we were given the backstory of how Baze came to adopt his unique weapon. Having run into numerous complications and deficiencies with his initial E5 carbine, Baze actually acquired the heavy cannon by stealing a shipment from the Empire. As Baze would quickly learn, the Empire intended to mount the weapon onto one of its vehicles, and use it as a method of crowd control. Knowing that the weapon could be used either on the citizens of the Holy City or in his fight against the Empire, Baze chose to rig the repeating cannon for his own personal use. As learned through the novel, it had 2 modes, a fully automatic mode that could fire up to 40,000 rounds before needing to be reloaded, and a second single-shot power mode that could generate impressively high yields. This was an interesting reveal and provided some additional background information for Baze that directly connected to what we already knew about the character from Rogue One. In the penultimate spot on my list of top reveals and moments from Guardians of the Whills, is the information that we were provided regarding Chirrut and his ability to use the Force. First and foremost, as made clear in the novel, Chirrut was not a Force user, nor was he Force sensitive. Most of his incredible feats were performed through years of training and practice with an echo box that was worn on his waist, that provided the Guardian with constant feedback regarding his surroundings and potential obstructions in his way. Chirrut had become so comfortable with the device that the feedback that he was getting from it was completely internalized by him, to the point that it was second nature. When combined with the sensory information that he was collecting himself through his own senses, he could achieve these extraordinary feats. However, the novel also makes it clear that there's something more to Chirrut's abilities with the Force. Guardians of the Whills reveals that Chirrut had spent years to be able to allow himself to feel the Force. Although he couldn't use it, the novel clearly shows that from Chirrut's perspective, he's achieved a certain amount of enlightenment wherein he can genuinely feel the Force moving around him, and connected both he to the world and the world to him. Pretty amazingly, it's described that Chirrut can feel both the warmth of the light and the chill of the dark. For Chirrut, these were only temporary and fleeting moments. Whether or not Chirrut was actually feeling the Force, and the novel doesn't provide the reader with any indication that what he's feeling isn't genuine in regard to the Force, this was a great reveal that added a lot to one of my favorite characters from Rogue One, and gives a whole new interpretation to his mantra, "I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me." And finally, my favorite reveal and moment from the novel, Guardians of the Whills, was the inclusion of a new poem, prayer, or meditation on the Force at the start of every new chapter. The works were revealed to be a collection that had been put together by a member of the Disciples of the Whills, and was called the Collected Poems, Prayers, and Meditations on the Force. These works were interesting in their own right, providing a look into the unique beliefs that were accepted by the disciples and the Guardians of the Whills. But even more than that, they established what appears to be a new focus for the Force, centered around a balance between the light and dark sides, rather than following only one of the two components, as was done by the Jedi and the Sith. The works included in the novel were so interesting in this regard that I dedicated an entire video to describing my favorite ones, with the potential for how they could influence Luke in his quest to find a new philosophy regarding the Force. This, of course, is speculation, but what can't be denied is that these revealed works, included in the novel, add to a growing body of thought, from the Bendu, to the Journal of the Whills, to the Force-based religions on Jedha, that accepts the totality of the Force, both the light and dark, rather than only a single component. So those are my top 5 reveals and moments from the novel, Star Wars, Guardians of the Whills, by Greg Rucka. I would be happy to hear and discuss what your favorite parts of the novel were in the comments section below. Have a great day everyone, and I look forward to talking with you all again soon.